It's a philosophy that says the dualism, the separation between man and the supreme being, the separation between truth and beauty. Non-dualism rejects the existence of that distinction. And, I think how to describe Hinduism is it's the reconciliation of man with the supreme being and his creator. And I think that is something that is a common thread through nearly all major world religions. And I think that the common thread this debate about between the atheist and the person of faith in each of those religious traditions and cultural backgrounds and backdrops where that debate has taken place, I think falls into the trap of believing that because you can't understand something, that other thing no longer exists, which is actually a denial of the entire history of science as well, right? So the idea that your body is composed of cells that themselves contain nucleic acids that offer the blueprint for your genetic makeup. The fact that you couldn't see that does not deny its actual truth. And I think that's the form of argument that I see with the atheist, not only in the American setting, but really for all of Western philosophical religious history. But it turns out, even if you look to ancient arguments in places like India for people who had a non-dualistic worldview, you could call it a Hindu worldview of believing that there is a supreme being that resides and is unified with each man, the fact that you can't see that or access that is not a valid argument on its own to deny its actual truth.
Well, let's look at that a minute from the scientific perspective, because there's actually, it seems to me that one of the prerequisites, the presuppositions of formal science is at least the implicit recognition of something like a transcendent unity. So, and here's what I mean by that. It's like any good scientist knows that his or her theories are insufficient, right? That the grip that our knowledge has on the world is inadequate. Now, what that implies is that there is a world that's a unity outside of our conceptualization, right? So that's a belief in a transcendent reality. So what you're doing when you do science is that you're subjecting your hypotheses to revision by the facts of the transcendent unity, right? You put your hypothesis up for testing against the manner in which the real but as of yet unknown world will manifest itself. And so you have to presume that there is a reality beyond your presuppositions. And not only that, you have to presume that that reality is intelligible and that making the effort to make it intelligible is actually beneficial and good. And it could be destructive. I mean, you can discover things that are destructive, but the scientific mindset is predicated on the idea that the expansion of our knowledge in the direction of this transcendental unity is actually a net moral good, because otherwise science would be an evil enterprise. And so it seems to me, and I make this case in this book too, that the hypothesis of something like a transcendent unity is a necessary precondition even for science itself to find its purchase and move forward. And the fact that the universities and the scientific enterprise essentially emerged out of the religious monastic tradition, historically and technically, is an indication of that fact, rather than, the kind of post-French Revolution notion that science and religion are somehow at odds. I don't think that's historically accurate. And so now there's one other thing too, and I'm interested in your comments about this.